Good night, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, I really must say so. Good night, sweetheart, good night. Good night, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, I really must say so. Good night, sweetheart, good night. Well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Babe, I just can't treat you right. I'll have to leave you, baby, but don't mean baby. You know I love you so. Good night, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, I really must say so. Good night, sweetheart, good night. Father, oh, I want your father. I'd hear if I say it alone. A kiss in my heart, and I'll be going. You know I hate to go. Good night, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, I really must say so. Good night, sweetheart, good night.
Well, we've already had the pleasure of hearing their wonderful voices once tonight, and I'm delighted to say that they're sticking around to sing us 2 more musical pieces before the end of the show. I'm referring to the Joubert Singers, the Hunters Hill Choir, who have joined us on the show tonight. We have more of those ethereal sounds from the Joubert Singers shortly, but before they perform again, it's time to find out a little more about them. And to help us do that, we're joined now by the musical director of the choir, Rochelle Elliott, and their president, Pat Foley. So please welcome Rochelle and Pat to the show. Hello, guys, and welcome.
Hi, Johnny.
It's good to have you on with us tonight, and thank you so much already for the first performance we heard there of Goodnight, Sweetheart. That was...
it's a lovely little number.
Yeah,
it is.
It
And
moves
quite
along
appropriate.
Yes, it gets stuck in your head. You know, I've had that in my head. It's fantastic.
So the Joubert Singers, what can you tell us about the choir? How did it all get started, and how long has it been running for? All of that sort of thing.
Sure. Joubert Singers is a community run choir that was started within the community by locals in Hunters Hill in 1994. So this is our 19th year together, and we'll be celebrating our 20th year next year. Oh, it's great.
Congratulations.
It's very exciting. Thank you very much. And it's a group of approximately about 40 singers who come together every week to rehearse because they love singing. We sing a range of music from traditional Western choral music to Goodnight, Sweetheart, the doo-wop, because it was appropriate, and because everyone just loves singing. And so they come together for the joy of singing, and they perform about 3 times a year. So each year they've had the opportunity to develop as a group. And we've had people come and go over the years, but it's a good, solid group of people. And what's lovely is we sing within the community, and it's made up of community singers.
And can I ask about the name too? I want to know about the name. Do you say it? Does it have the French inflection of Joubert, or is this the Aussie slang good name Joubert? Is that can you get away with that?
We usually call it Joubert.
Joubert
in the French way. The Joubert brothers were part of the original development of Hunters Hill. They were entrepreneurs. Frenchmen, of course, it was called the French colony in the
didn't know that.
I suppose about the middle of the century. And there is a Joubert Street.
Yes, the Joubert Square.
Oh, right.
Joubert Square.
Yes.
And so that's where the name comes from, and we preserve the French flavour.
Yes,
very nice.
Joubert. Joubert has moved
like a
out.
bit of a French accent sometimes.
Now, when you're performing before, I was just looking around. You're just ordinary people, but they love to sing. So the faces of people really enjoying it and really getting involved with it. Do you find that this is common, that just people want to sing and they just want to get involved and be part of the choir?
oh, this could be an interesting perspective, because I'm at one end of the scale, as in front of everyone, and Pat's at the other end.
Yeah.
But my personal experience, either as a singer or as a leader, is that regardless of what mood you're in, the act of singing physiologically, emotionally, mentally changes you, and you leave feeling freer, happier, more lively. And so when people say to me, oh, look, I just don't think I could cope, you know, I don't think I could sing tonight, and you find actually that's the best time to sing, and you come out and you go, wow, I feel great. Why do I feel so good? And it is the whole actual physical process of singing.
Yeah, okay.
So we need to do more singing on the show, Danny. That's what we got to do.
I'm always happy to have singing on the show. It's very therapeutic, is what you're saying.
It is really therapeutic, and I think for most people these days, they're so busy, they need to find something to focus on, whether it's yoga or tennis or singing, that takes their mind out of the ordinary every day. And for a lot of people, music does that in a way that no other activity, social activity, does for them.
Now, I just wanted to play a little piece as well that you've sent to me. And I believe this piece of music you guys actually put together yourself, and it was for the 150-year celebrations of Hunters Hill. I say 150 because I can never say the word.
Sesquicentenary. Took me a long time to practice that one.
So that was a couple of years ago, and you guys performed as part of the celebrations for that. And I believe you put this piece that we're hearing now together. Someone wrote it, and you arranged it all yourselves.
Yeah, we were very privileged. We managed to get a grant from the City of Ryde to help us commission a work that was relevant to the local Hunters Hill area. Okay. And one of our choristers, Elizabeth McGeorge, is a writer, and she wrote a poem that she was inspired to write, again, that was about Mukabulla, or the Hunters Hill Peninsula, which is the meeting of the two waters.
And that's what Mukabulla
which is
means,
where the title,
that's
what Mukabulla means. So Mukabulla Festival every first weekend in August, it's the same thing. So it was important for us to provide something back to Hunters Hill community for their 150th celebration. And so we had Matthew Olovich, who's actually a fan of 2RRR.
Hey!
Amazingly so. He's an internationally recognised Australian composer. He wrote the piece for us based on Lizzie's text. Wow. And we were able to do the world premiere at the specific sesquicentenary event down on Clark's Point. Awesome. And then the mayor at the time, Sue Hoopman, was so chuffed that she got us to do a professional recording, which they put in the time capsule that they buried, that will be open in 50 years' time. Okay. So that's sort of the history of the whole song, and how it came about. What about the text, Pat, and the meaning of that?
The Lizzie's text?
Yes.
It basically goes through the sort of rundown of the history of the peninsula and the meeting of the two waters from the Aboriginal times and the indigenous inhabitants. This is what the Mukabulla is, of course, down to the coming of Europeans. Yep. And the development of the peninsula, especially the what she calls them, the jewels, the sandstone houses.
Yes, sandstone jewels, and all the spires of the churches, and the bridges. Yeah. So it's this juxtaposition between the original inhabitants and the flora and the fauna and the geography of the place versus the actual.
Well, I have to say it's a beautiful piece of music, and something I think to my untrained ear wouldn't sound out of place in Europe. It sounds it's a lovely piece of music.
There you go. It is wonderful.
And on the subject of music, tonight we've already heard "Goodnight, Sweetheart." You performed that for us. Now the other two that you're going to do, can you just explain just quickly a little bit about those two pieces? Sure.
Well, because of the size of the studio, we've only got a section of the choir, so we pulled out some of our shorter, unaccompanied repertoire. One of the ones that you'll hear is Je ne l'ose dire, which is a little French number back from Renaissance of 1500s.
Yep.
I want Danny to introduce that one. How's it go, Danny?
Jules no désir or something like that?
No dessert for you. No. But it's quite a fun song, and what's fascinating about this old repertoire is usually it was always religious music. We know a lot of religious old music, but they're discovering, there's musicologists out there discovering more and more music. So this is actually secular text, which is a wonderful little song about, I've got something to tell, but don't tell anyone. And what have I got to tell? Well, shall I tell you or not?
Oh, you can? Okay.
I can? Okay. All right, late night show. We can do this, can't we? It's after 7 o'clock.
Stick close to the radio. And
don't tell anyone, but I can understand why that man is so upset because his wife keeps on sleeping with other people. Oh, je ne l'ose dire. But I'm not going to say anything. I will say nothing. I know nothing.
That's very French, isn't it?
It is very French.
You have to say that for right near the end.
We're going to hear that in a moment. Just quickly before we let you go, if anyone's interested in like singing and was interested, would love to join up with your choir group, can they do that? And who do they get in contact with to do that? Pat?
Absolutely. They can get a look at our website. There's a fair bit of information on that about the sorts of things we see in our program when we practice. There's a little sign-on sheet that they can get to and come along. We practice at 7:30 to 10 on Tuesday nights during school terms at the hall at the Hunters Hill Primary School.
Okay.
And there's no audition required. We welcome anyone who can hold a tune to come along and join us.
Okay.
That's right. But have a look at the repertoire. Even though we did a lovely doo-wop, Goodnight, Sweetheart, that's not our normal repertoire. That's part of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. No
And I have to say that just sitting here listening to the conversation going on now and also the singing before, Pat, you've got a fantastic voice. Can you do some promos for our show or something like that? You've got a
I think
magic voice
definitely.
for radio.
He's got a beautiful radio
It just
voice.
sounds fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to hear that
maybe
more.
He's looking a bit worried.
Good night, Gladesville.
Yeah, there we go.
We're going to play that at the end of it.
We can loop that now.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on
Thank you.
and having a chat to us. And
great
now, if Geoff, you're going to head back out to the,
I
to
better
the
get out
main
there to
area,
the area.
and we're going to hear now the performance of the word that I can't say. So,
Je ne l'ose dire.
Je ne le désire. I'm going to try and say it. So, you're listening to Goodnight Gladesville here on 2RRR, and this is the Joubert Singers singing Je ne le désire.
Je ne l'ose dire, la la la. Je ne vous dirai, et la la la. Je ne vous dirai, il est un homme en nos villes qui de sa femme est jaloux. Il n'est pas jaloux sans cause, mais il est coucou toutou. Et la la la. Je ne l'ose dire, la la la. Je ne vous dirai, et la la la, je ne vous dirai. Il n'est pas jaloux sans cause, mais il est coucou doutou. Il le prête et s'il l'amène, au marché s'en va à tout. Et la la la, je ne l'ose dire, la la la, je ne vous dirai, et la la la, je ne vous dirai. Sie war entfernt, der Frühling lockt sie wieder. Was Neues hat sie nicht erlernt, singt alte liebe Lieder. Singt liebe Lieder. Die Nachtigall, sie war entfernt, der Frühling lockt sie wieder, was Neues hat sie nicht gelernt. Singt alte liebe Lieder, sie